John, just sorry for your loss. It's a tough day for you. Just explain first. Let's get your emotions and your feelings on today.
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling people most of what I know professionally about broadcasting, I learned from Van Miller, quite frankly, and there was no classroom setting. I mean, I learned just from observing and watching and seeing how he worked, and we became very close professionally, but personally too. I mean, we worked together on the radio broadcast for 16 years, and I've known him for more than 30 years. I want to say about 35 years, and we became close. I mean, my two sons think of him as Uncle Van. I mean, our family is close with him, and it is tough. It's a difficult day.
Do you have one particular great broadcast memory of Van, a particular call, one that stands out as like, wow, that was just why this guy's a legend?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, obviously, and that's why he's a legend. You know, I go back to, I think it was 2003, Bills-Patriots season opening game, and the Bills won 31-0. It was Van's last year, so he was at the tail end of his career. And towards the end of the game, great big Sam Adams, defensive tackle, caught a tip pass from Brady, intercepted, rumbled into the end zone. And Van's play call was just superb. And he calls the play, and then he tacks on, "Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming?" And I'm standing there next to him thinking, he nailed it. I mean, he got it, because everybody who was there was thinking the same thing. Is this really happening? But that's what he did. You know, he connected with the game and connected with fans, and he felt what Bills fans were feeling, I think, and he did that for 37 years.
How much did you learn from him? And you know, he probably never sat down with you in a classroom and said, "This is the way to do it." So it's probably just observation. It's like, "Wow, he just taught me something."
And you're right. There was no formal session. There was no tutorial. But when you work with Van, as I was fortunate enough to do for those 16 seasons, if you were paying attention, you would see the energy and enthusiasm he brought to it. And to me, that was his greatest strength. You know, he would tap into the energy level of the stadium. He knew, you know, the subtext of the build-up to the game and what people were talking about going into the game. And he was totally immersed in the game once they kicked off. And I really learned that. And another important part, which is similar to that, is he taught me, again, by observation, to go with it, you know, to feel the game as opposed to just reporting on the game. You know, we're not reporters, really. You're feeling what's going on there, and you kind of have to learn how to just sit back and say what you see, say what you feel.
When you are doing a game or reviewing a game and think that's a good call, you ever think during a game, "Wow, Van would have really liked that call"?
Yeah, all the time. Oh, you mean my calls?
Yes.
No, I don't think that.
Did you ever like?
No, I usually think Van probably wishes he were here to make that call. No, I mean, it's hard. I don't compare myself to Van. I mean, he's in multiple halls of fame. He's the best I've ever heard. Really, I think the most versatile and accomplished broadcaster in Buffalo history, if you looked at everything he did. And so I find I sleep better at night if I don't compare myself to him.
Well, I didn't necessarily mean compare yourself to him, but, you know, just a particular call is like, "Wow, Van really be proud of that one," or something along those lines. There's never been a call that you thought.
No, maybe this is what you're getting at. There have been times, and I've been doing the play-by-play now for 11 years, going into the 12th. There have been times when Van would say, "Hey, that sounded good," or "You did a good job last week," and that meant the world to me whenever he would say that.
Aside from fellow broadcasters, did you also get the sense that he had a similar impact that he had on you throughout the Bills organization?
Oh yeah, he's a beloved figure, you know, and I reached out to Jim Kelly today, and he texted back, "Oh man, I love that guy," you know, and I know a lot of. I mean, C.J. Spiller, it was amazing. I saw on Twitter, C.J. Spiller tweeted out, "R.I.P. Van Miller." Van never called one of C.J.'s games here. I'm not so sure they met, but I mean, he had that kind of impact. He was kind of a transcendent figure in the organization. There is the Van Miller Press Box Club over there in the stadium, you know, with pictures of him all around. And I think going on the Wall of Fame last year was big for him, and really big for the franchise to acknowledge the role that he played in the development of the franchise right from the start, right from 1960.
Is there any way to sum up what he meant, not to just the franchise, but to all of Western New York?
Well, yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, I know growing up here, and I grew up, you know, in Lockport and listened to Van call Niagara basketball with the great Calvin Murphy. And so he's been in the back of my mind and a voice in my mind since I was a little kid. And I think for most people of a certain age, we feel that way. And I think for most people, Van is not just the voice of the Bills, but really the sound of the Bills. And when you see NFL Films highlights, or you think about the Super Bowl years, or even in the mid-'60s, the AFL Championship years, in the back of your mind, or maybe even you hear it, the audio, you hear Van Miller's voice. I mean, he's just closely and irreparably identified with the franchise.
What was he like when he was away from the game?
He was hilarious. He's probably the funniest person I ever met. We were just back talking in the other room about some of his great stories, some of them true, some of them amazing jokes that he would tell. When Van went into the when Van was honored by the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004, he won the Pete Rozelle Radio Television Award, and they have an event at the Canton Civic Center, probably 6,000 or 7,000 people, and that was the night where he got his award. He's not enshrined in the hall with the Hall of Famers, and he got up, accepted his award, and delivered 20 minutes of killer stand-up comedy, like the funniest jokes you've ever heard in your life. Grown men are taking their napkins and wiping their eyes, and it was just amazing. But that's how funny he was, and he had that sort of enthusiastic sense that he wanted to make everybody laugh. You know, he called everybody Uncle Van, or I'm sorry, everybody called him Uncle Van. You know, and he wanted to be Uncle Van. He wanted to be loved, and I think he truly was.